Darth Vader, the iconic villain of the Star Wars franchise, is one of the most recognizable characters in the world. He is a symbol of power and fear. The iconic black helmet and cape have become synonymous with villainy and what it means to be a true antagonist. Celebrated by the masses as one of pop culture's greatest villains and a source of inspiration for many other works, the legacy of Darth Vader and his impact on storytelling are one to be noted and respected. Yet hidden under this cultural understanding of Darth Vader being a villain is the complex backstory of a character that was once seen as the chosen one, Anakin Skywalker. In reality, the beauty behind characters like Darth Vader is that they are tragic villains in which we see their gradual transformation into evil. However, the works of George Lucas and his prequel trilogy take this concept and elevate it to heights never seen before in the exploration of tragic heroes.
When isolating the prequel trilogy from the original trilogy, the reason why they stand up so well in the grand scheme of the Star Wars narrative is that they are able to provide meaning behind the madness of Darth Vader. By taking a villain who has done some truly cruel things, from destroying the whole planet of Alderaan to slaughtering Jedi younglings, the prequels make us sympathize with Anakin by fleshing out his hero's journey, a concept coined by Joseph Campbell, a prolific American writer.
To get a better understanding of Anakin Skywalker's transformation into Darth Vader, this concept of the hero's journey needs to be understood a bit further. The hero's journey is a term coined by Joseph Campbell in his book The Hero with a Thousand Faces to describe a pattern found in the journeys of heroic figures in literature, film, and other narrative forms. This pattern is composed of three main stages: separation, initiation, and return. In the separation stage, the hero is called to leave their ordinary world and enter a special world of adventure. In the initiation stage, they undergo a series of trials and challenges, and in the return stage, the hero is transformed and returns home with newfound knowledge and power. The hero's journey provides a framework for not only characters in fiction, but for our own lives, reminding us that life is a cycle of growth and transformation, and that each of us has the potential for heroism in our lives.
Initially, hearing these stages of the hero's journey, these stages are very much so apparent in the character journey of Anakin Skywalker, yet something that is so elegantly done by George Lucas is that he decides to use this as a baseline before subverting away from the final stage, creating the tragic villain of Darth Vader, the one we know and fear but still nonetheless relate to. Now, how is this done and accomplished? Well, to understand, let's take a better look at each of these stages and how they draw us, the viewer, closer to Anakin before ultimately pushing him away into the creation of an evil entity.
Broken up into 3 movies, each movie in the trilogy works on its own and serves its role to aid in the progression of Anakin through each of these stages. Hence, by beginning with the Phantom Menace, this movie represents the complete separation phase of the monomyth. As a reminder, this phase is when the hero leaves his familiar home in search of a new adventure. Anakin Skywalker experiences this stage when he is first taken from his home on Tatooine to become a Jedi to help complete the prophecy of being the chosen one. In doing so, we can see how this separation from his mother, the only form of family he had on the planet, was a difficult process for the child, as he had to leave behind his comfort zone and the loved ones that he grew up with, basically leaving all that he had ever known. Yet, if we look at this as a whole, we can see that the separation phase is met with turbulence, with Anakin and his mother initially rejecting this call to action, and only accepting it upon talks with the Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn, who convinces both of them of Anakin's higher calling whilst informing them about the greater scope of the universe and the constant battle between good and evil that awaits them. All in all, this phase creates a greater understanding of who Anakin is and his larger destiny, and what his goal is, whilst helping us understand his humble origins. This underdog story of being the chosen one, yet coming from a dejected roots, is what lays the groundwork for why we root for Anakin and relate to him.
From here, with the second film in the trilogy, Attack of the Clones, we are confronted with the second stage of Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, which is the initiation phase. In this stage, the hero begins to confront the challenges of their chosen path and is tested by forces both physical and psychological. In the film Attack of the Clones, Anakin faces the challenge of his Jedi training, is confronted by enemies of the Jedi, and is forced to confront his own inner darkness. With temptations including Padme and Count Dooku, who both test Anakin's resolve in the Jedi way of life. With Padme serving as a love interest to Anakin and in direct opposition to his goal, we are given a first-hand glimpse of the many challenges and aspects Anakin must balance in this initiation phase, going to illustrate the hardships and toils that come with being a protector of the galaxy. Moreover, having something beautiful like love work in a contradictory fashion to deter Anakin from his goal sets in place this subtle subversion which will be fully explored in the third film of the trilogy. Additionally, by having Count Dooku serve as yet again another temptation for Anakin to let go of the good side and join the easier yet more destructive Sith, it shows how Anakin is still juggling with morality and his own inner darkness as a whole. Nonetheless, in the end, Anakin is able to confront his inner demons and begins to embrace the Jedi path. It is only through this journey of self-discovery that Anakin is able to become the expected hero of the story, and these challenges yet again make him more relatable as he's seen in a more human-like form as opposed to this chosen one figure, making him yet an even more interesting character that shows the weight of making the right decisions in the face of easier wrong decisions.
To end the trilogy, in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin Skywalker subverts the third stage of the hero's journey, return. Instead of returning to his home with the knowledge and experience he has gained, Anakin is faced with the realization that he has no home, and is a lost man in the universe. By specifically highlighting how the Tusken Raiders tortured Anakin's mom, the only form of family he had, George Lucas spins this phase by inherently delaying the return phase for Anakin's character. The destruction of the status quo provides no other option to Anakin but for him to abandon his original home. The event of losing his mother leads Anakin to become more vulnerable, and as such susceptible into falling into the clutches of his own anger and more importantly the manipulation of the dark side and Emperor Palpatine. The gradual actions taken by Anakin, such as his role in Order 66 and his slaughtering of the younglings, shock us as it puts us in this awkward position where we understand his anger and have been rooting for him for the past two phases of his journey, but the sudden and jarring detour leaves us in a weird state of transition where we are left to question our attachment to the character. As such, his transformation is complete, but he is no longer the hero of the story, but rather its villain. This subversion of the traditional hero's journey highlights the struggle between good and evil within us all, in doing so, this exploration in the Star Wars prequels. With Anakin's ultimate destiny determined by the choices he makes, does an excellent job in emphasizing how heroes and villains are cut from the same cloth. With that all being said, it is important to understand that Darth Vader and Anakin do reach this point of return in the sixth installment of the franchise, Return of the Jedi, when he sacrifices himself for the greater good and the survival of his son and the rest of the galaxy. In doing so, Anakin still throughout the whole story was the chosen one, and that never changed, yet the way it was brought out was different than expected by most, and as such it makes the lore of Star Wars all the better and richer.
In conclusion, George Lucas's creation of Darth Vader perfectly encapsulates the human struggle between good and evil. The character of Vader is a tragic figure, as he is a man who has chosen the dark side of the Force, but a man who is ultimately still capable of redemption. Lucas's portrayal of Vader as a complex character with a fascinating backstory of struggle and tragedy makes him one of the most compelling villains ever created, and his story serves as a powerful reminder of the battle between good and evil. It is harder to be a hero, but all the while more worth it in the end. Vader's redemption serves as a testament to the power of hope and love, even in the darkest of times.